Good morning, my brothers and sisters, and all my friends. This morning we are going to talk about part 6 of the secret wisdom, the Gupt Vidya, the third holy river of this great confluence of wisdom, of evolutionary wisdom, Bharat Vidya. And in this part 6, we are going to transform an ordinary human being into a great being through the science of secret Vidya, the secret science. And once one is transformed into a greater being, then we become the hand of God, the hand of evolution, cosmic evolution. And we become a great Sri Kshetra. What does it mean by Sri Kshetra? Is that we become a divine space. As we know, the material world, the material universe is expressed in these two dimensions of time and space, these two polarities of time and space. And these two polarities are complementary to each other. So when we transform an ordinary human being into a greater being, from a Jan to Mahajan, to a great being, then that microcosm, that human being becomes the divine space. That human being becomes a space of divine attributes, a space which is universally benevolent for everybody, and all its interactions with the material world, with the whole creation of God, to all the human beings and all the sentient beings, all his actions and interactions become divine, universally benevolent, and dedicated to his personal good and good of everybody else. What a beautiful existence, and what a beautiful transmutation of a lesser being, an ordinary human being, into a greater human being, from Jan to Mahajan. So this morning we are going to transform an ordinary human being, a lesser being, into a greater being, from Jan to Mahajan. As we know that every profession needs a training. You have to train yourself. You have to train your whole being, your mind and heart, and your emotions, and your mental faculties. And you have to make the active choice. And you have to make the Shiv Sankalpa, the great resolution, by calling upon your willpower that I'm going to do it. Doesn't matter what happens in this universe. Do and die attitude will define your success, will define your transformation, your transmutation. And what a beautiful resolution that we connect our resolution with do and die attitude. Whether I do it or it doesn't matter to me anymore. that I am ready to die. That attitude. When you take a Shiv Sankalpa, you don't ever have any anxiety of your own life and existence. So with that attitude of do and die, you perform the transmutation of the lesser being into greater being. And that's how we, human animals, transformed ourselves into educated, cultured, civilized human beings, kind to each other, cooperating with each other and collaborating with each other for good of ourselves and good of everybody. If we look back to the human history and the history of planet Earth, we see that we were not so civilized. We experimented with many attitudes, and finally, with our experiential wisdom, we found out the truth. And the truth is the truth of grand union, the grand unity of our resolution to do good to ourselves and to everybody else. So from the imperialism, from colonization, and before crusades and jihads, and all kind of robbing and looting the planet and the humanity, we used to feel so insecure. Everybody was so insecure. But then we realized our falling. We realized our mistakes. And we realized that if we have the attitude of lower animal attitudes of jealousy, hatred, sadism, dishonesty, injustice, cruelty, then we are doomed. We learn it, and then we brought out the great divine attributes of love, compassion, the peace, justice, equality, and kindness, honesty. And through these attributes, divine attributes, we transformed ourselves and the whole humanity into democratic institutions, the democratic values. So we have come a long way. And through this secret wisdom, we are going to transform an ordinary lesser human being. We have already come here through evolution, through our democratic values, but that's not enough. We are going to transform an ordinary human being, a Jan, into Mahajan. And how we are going to do that? There are 5 steps to follow of this great secret wisdom to transform and transmute a lesser human being into a Mahajan, Jantu Mahajan. And the very first step is ashan sadhana. That you become steadfast on the place wherever you decide to stay, your workplace, whatever the workplace is, doesn't matter. Even if you are a cobbler and mending the shoes on the roadside under a green tree, that's okay. Any place is okay on planet Earth. So you decide your workplace, you decide your ashan. That's the first step of yoga, that you decide your asana. This is your holy asana. This is your throne. And when you are on that throne, that holy place, that divine place which you have decided to be on, then you must have that attitude and that mind corresponding with your resolution to transform yourself from a lesser being to a greater being. So you decide to be at your workplace without moving and steadfast, and you become the nucleus of life, and the life goes around you. The whole humanity, when it is driven by demands, when it is driven by the insecurities and anxieties, whole humanity behaves like electrons. And when you become steadfast on your place, your asana, your holy seat, your throne, your shop, your workshop, your place of work. If you are a student, your study table. If you are a scientist, your laboratory. So you become so steadfast that you don't move away from this place. Doesn't matter what happens in the world, but you never leave your place. Maybe there is a procession of a king. Maybe there is a big demonstration out on the street. Maybe there is a big invitation for a great party and a great lunch and a free lunch. You don't worry. You don't care. And you don't leave your place. You are steadfast on your asana. That's the first step. And you become the nucleus. And the whole universe, the whole humanity will go around you. The second is time discipline, samay sadhana. That you decide to be at your workplace, to be at your laboratory, to be at your study table, to be in your workshop for a certain time period, from 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock in the evening. And in this time, this is your holy time. This is your time of your self-transformation, and you don't move. You don't leave your workshop for 12 hours. You are there. And you don't get late ever for 1 minute, 1 second. You have to open your shop at 8 o'clock. You have to open your workshop at 8 o'clock in the morning. You have to be in your laboratory at 8 o'clock in the morning. You have to be on your farm, if you are a farmer, at 8 o'clock in the morning. 12 months. 7 into 365. 724, 365. You are steadfast for that time period. Samay sadhana, they call sadhana. So for that period of time, you are dedicated. That time is dedicated to your work of transmutation, of the self-transmutation, self-transformation. And you stay in your shop for those 12 hours, 8 o'clock to 8 o'clock in the evening. And in the evening, once you close your shop at 8 o'clock, and doesn't matter if a customer comes at 10 past 8, and you have closed down your shutter, you have closed down your shop, and he says, I want to buy 100,000 worth of goods now. Can you open your shop? You say, no, I'm sorry, brother. Come tomorrow. My time is over. You practice non-attachment. You practice zero greed and zero glory. And you say, no, my time is over. You can buy from any other shop, my dear brother, if you are in a hurry. And if you can wait for till tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, please do come over and I'll be here at 8 o'clock. So you don't open your shop again for the greed, for the temptation. So zero temptation. And that is what is known as called sadhana, samay sadhana. So you have done 2 steps. And the third is jaban sadhana. The discipline of tongue, the discipline of word, as it is said so beautifully in Bible, in Gospel of John, in beginning there was the Word, and Word was with the God, and God was the Word. The Word has such infinite power and potential. The Word can move the whole world, whole universe. It is so powerful. So we are going to have this great discipline, and we are going to train ourselves, our tongue and our word. And for example, anyone comes around in your shop and says, please give me this and this, and what do you charge? What is the price? And you say, okay, it's 10 rupees or 11 rupees, and the person says, no, you are a thief, you are dishonest, you are a robber. That person is charging only 9 rupees and you charge 11 rupees, and your price is 11 rupees, you are a thief. You say, I'm sorry, brother, please go there and buy 9 rupees, but my price is 11 rupees. And doesn't matter how many bad names he tells you, that you are stupid, you are crazy, you are this and you are that. And you never say a word back to him of reaction. You don't join his reactive mind. You refuse to join his reactive mind. And you always say, my dear brother, why don't you go and buy from him in 9 rupees and my price is 11 rupees. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, brother, I can't help you. Please go to him and buy in 9 rupees. And yes, you are right, I'm a thief and I'm maybe anybody, but my prices are fixed. And I sell this article in 11 rupees. And I'm not saying a word against my fellow shopkeeper that his quality is lower quality and my quality is higher quality. No. Zero temptation to talk that, criticize anybody else. And being steadfast on the dharma of non-reactive mind, non-duality, steadfast with the word and say, my brother, I'm sorry, I sell it in 11 rupees, my price is 11 rupees, you go and buy from him in 9 rupees, I'm sorry. And yes, you are right, I'm a robber, I'm a thief, I'm stupid, I'm crazy, doesn't matter. But my brother, I'm sorry. Jaban sadhana, the discipline of the word. The fourth is Taka Sadhana. This fourth step is the very resolution and intention, a dynamic resolution, a steadfast resolution that before you decide to do any business, any work, any commercial activity of interaction with other human beings, because your commercial activity is the interaction with the other human beings. It's a great cosmic responsibility. The way you deal with your other human beings, with the whole humanity, through your shop, through your commercial activity, through your product, and through your word, and through your whole being, the way you interact with the whole universe and with the whole humanity will decide your transformation, the self-transformation. So you decide before you begin, before you start your business, and you say you decide the margin of profit. My dear brothers and sisters, you can decide any margin of profit. Depends on your wisdom. Because if it is a lesser margin of profit, you will have the volume business. And if you have a bigger margin of profit, you will have lesser volume. So choice is yours. And with a bigger margin of profit, your growth will be slow. And with a lesser margin of profit, your growth will be exponential, quick, very quick. So you decide your margin of profit, Taka Sadhana. How much profit you want to take? 1%, 2%, 2.5%, and 3%. You decide. But once you decide and you begin your business, it is never changed. In all circumstances, doesn't matter who comes to you, a blind customer, a fool, an ignorant, anybody who comes to you, but your margin of profit stays the same, and no compromise with your quality. It is always the same. In the same margin of profit, you sell it. Maybe a blind man comes to you and says, please give me a tin of oil, cooking oil, and you hand him over the wrong quality because he is blind. You are doomed. You will never transform yourself into Jantu Mahajan. But believe me, you will degenerate into a Mahajan. A Mahajan is a person who takes, who robs, who collects the costumes of the dead people. He is Mahajan. So instead of Mahajan, you will transform yourself into instead of Mahajan, you will transform yourself into a Mahajan. There is a big difference. Mahajan is the divine personage, and a Mahajan is the one who has joined the hell, who has joined the death, who is surviving on the articles of a dead person, who is surviving through the death of somebody. You are a vulture. You are not a Mahajan. You are not a divine personage. So be careful. Doesn't matter who comes to your shop. You deal with everybody in the same manner. And you always keep your margin of profit always the same. Doesn't matter who comes, a blind man or an ignorant or a fool or anybody or a child. It's always the same. So that's known as Taka Sadhana. And then finally, the fifth step. As we know that everybody, whenever they talk with their friends or in society or with their children or with their parents, this is a social dialogue. I'm repeating. Everyone says, Oh, I have to be very careful about my kids, and I'm worried about the future of my kids, and I'm worried about this, and I have to do this much for my kids, for my children, and I want to do this and I want to do that for my children. Everybody does it only for one generation. He's talking about his generation. But my dear brothers and sisters, is our generation only one? No. Mahajan, this great Jan, will extend his field of work, of his labor, of his dedication. That he is not only dedicated to his immediate generation of his children, but he is dedicated to 7 generations, the coming future 7 generations. So Sat Pidhi Sadhana. This is known as 7 generation discipline. And through this 7 generation discipline, he is projecting his labor, his work, his resolution, his mission for 7 generations at least. That's 7 generation dedication. 7 generation, a life of dedicated to 7 generations welfare, to bring all those 7 generations out of the biological needs of food, clothes, shelter, education, and the medicine. That I will generate so much capital which will be helping my 7 generations in future, that they will always be afloat above the biological needs, these 5 biological needs, so their mind could be employed creatively, and their mind, and they could work with 100% of efficiency, mental efficiency, because a reactive mind which is condemned to be under these 5 biological needs is a reactive mind which is using only the impulse of a serpentine mind to react. Then our mind cannot work 100% efficiency, and our whole efficiency of work and our productivity goes down because of the reactive mind, because we are not in the sovereign mode of existence. So he prepares to work and dedicate his work and his service to 7 generations of his future 7 generations. So we have now transformed this lesser human being into a Jan, into a Mahajan. Thank you very much, and have a very, very beautiful day, my brothers and sisters.